गुड मॉर्निंग लेडीज जेंटलमैन, वेलकम टू टुडेज ग्रुप डिस्कशन। है ना, इंस्ट्रक्शन सबको बताएं, बताने दोबारा। चलो एक बार फिर से बताते हैं ना। द टास्क विच वुड बी हैविंग टुडे इज अगेन ग्रुप डिस्कशन. Group discussion is an informal exchange of views which we have over a cup of tea while sitting in a cafe room or in a hostel room. It is an informal exchange of views. Feel free to speak as many times as you feel like. As many times as you feel like. Don't be repetitive. Don't be repetitive. Speak to your group. Don't look at the assessor. समझ रहे हो ना, आपको सामने वाले बंदे को देखने की जरूरत नहीं है, अपने आप को देखना है। ठीक है, बॉडी लैंग्वेज ठीक है, सही है, थोड़ा बहुत लेफ्ट राइट भी होगी चलेगी, बट जो आपका फैक्ट, आपको जो पॉइंट होने चाहिए वो बहुत जबरदस्त होने चाहिए। समझ रहे हो, डोंट बी रिपीटेटिव, फील फ्री टू स्पीक, जितनी बार आपको बोलना है बोलिए, है ना। जस्ट कीप वन थिंग इन माइंड, एट वन पॉइंट टाइम ओनली वन पर्सन इज स्पीकिंग बिकॉज इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन टू मेनी थॉट्स आर कमिंग एट द सेम टाइम। समझ रहे हो। द टॉपिक फॉर टुडेज डिस्कशन इज शुड मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग, क्या बोला मैंने, शुड मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग बी कंपल्सरी, बी मेड कंपल्सरी इन इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम और नॉट। मतलब इंडियन करिकुलम के अंदर मिलिट्री एजुकेशन को कंपल्सरी किया जाए या नहीं। आई एम रिपीटिंग द टॉपिक वंस अगेन, शुड मिलिट्री एजुकेशन बी मेड कंपल्सरी और नॉट। एनी इश्यूज? कोई प्रॉब्लम, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। चलिए स्टार्ट करें। स्टार्ट।
Good morning, gentlemen. As you know, countries like Sweden and Norway always, countries like Sweden and Norway uh, perform activities of military training for this country. For its country, it is mandatory for all women and men for 18 months. So why don't India? According to me, I believe that India should also do this military exercise. And since India is a democratic country, so it's choice of individual whether they want to join or not. So India should uh, made a program whether for men's and women's to join their to have a military training. There are many advantages of military training, such as it develop uh, abilities like hard working and time management, brotherhood, and many more.
I also agree with my friend. By giving our youth the military training, we will be able to inculcate the form of discipline and making them skills and a powerful warrior. And moreover, if in future we need, if we declare a total war against any country by God's sake, then we will have a large amount of reserve personals to fight and to protect our motherland.
I partially agree with you, but it is the individual's choice that whether he wants to join the Indian Army, whether he wants that military training or not. We can't force an individual to to join the military training. So because it would hurt the democratic spirit of the country. So I think that forcing and making it compulsory would make India hollow from inside.
I partially agree with my friend, but if we are not able to protect our democracy in the country, then how we can stay democratic in our own land? We should make the military training necessary so that we can protect it at any cost in future or in present time.
I partially agree with you, but gentlemen, I don't believe that India is the most democratic country, so it should not force its citizens to be mandatory in the armed forces to join the armed forces. It should not be mandatory. It should be the people's choice. If people don't want to do, they will never ever full their mindset to do a single thing. And as you are talking about the persons protecting the democratic country, they are people in the Jammu and Kashmir people. There are Hindus that are protecting their villages. There are then other religious people who are protecting their own religion. They can their mindset can be changed. I think you have recently heard about the honey trap DRDO scientist because he was his mindset was completely changed by a Pakistani woman who was honey trapping him and forced him, or we can say personated him to give all the DRU details, necessary details that were theft from the DRDO officials. So we cannot say that we cannot totally believe in a person if his mindset could have been changed.
I totally agree with you because if we force an occupation or in military training in our country to all of the teenagers, the mindset of the people is different and it can produce clashes between religions and different topics. So therefore, I don't think so that it is necessary for military training It is not necessary to compensate that India should be a compulsory military training undergoing country, because it can lead to clashes.
I would agree with you. As we have all heard, once a soldier is always a soldier. The military training will not only provide them the knowledge of army, but also the respect towards it. It will also help them develop sense of discipline, brotherhood, and which will later help them in after life after this military training. As my brother said, that we should not compulsory it because it will harm our democracy. For that, I would say there are many countries where democracy is still working and they have compulsory the military training. For example, as test number 6 said, Sudan and countries like Korea where they are flourishing, even and their democracy is not hurt by this compulsory training by army.
I partially agree with you, my friend. I wanted to say that South Korea is not totally democratic country. It's a partial democratic country. A citizen in South Korea is not allowed to say any bad comment to their leader. And I just wanted to say yes, military training should be compulsory. It's not wrong because it will ultimately lead to a strong reserve force of our country, strong reserve force in our country. But military training is so daunting for everyone that it's not a cup of tea that everyone could drink. It's so hard because there are some people who don't have strong mental health. So it could be hard for them. And India is a democratic country. I totally support that thing. Indians do have the democratic spirit in them, and then they usually find that military training could be hard for them.
Exactly, I agree with my friend. Everyone is built different. Not everyone could stay in that condition where people are dying. Not everyone can attain that mental pressure where 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 in a day thousands of people are dying. War is going on. Not everyone is built that way. So, and my friends, you are talking about democracy, but if we are forcing everyone to join Indian Army, where is the democracy left? What about their choices?
I totally agree with you, just number. As we can see, India is the country with large population, and South Korea having in comparison less population, and it's easy for them to recruit every person in army, and the peoples there are not patriotic towards army like India. In India, every person wants to join army, and it's nearly not possible that that we could recruit every person in army. It may can cause mass unemployment in future.
Exactly. And I want to question something. What about the expenses we will be putting into the army to let everyone join that?
I would like to answer your question, my friend. You have asked about the expenses. Once we have trained all our youth in the military, then we will be having a skillful worker which are disciplined and their efficiency will be increased. Once we have the powerful group of workers working in our factories or our industries, automatically our GDP will increase. Our product sales, our quality of products, and our export will increase, and it will help us to grow our GDP. From this, we will help our expenses. And as my friend have said about the mental health of the people who are strong enough to face any challenge, to face any worst thing in their life, are the most good people who can be the asset to our country. Moreover, as my friend has said about the honey trap, let me explain you, gentlemen, if the concept of honey trap is not a new thing. It is not, they are not only targeting the military personnel, but they are also targeting the normal youth of India to become sleeper cells, to work for them in our country and against it. So if a person is trained in the military, he will be automatic the feeling of patriotism, discipline will inculcate him, and he will not fall in these kind of traps. Moreover, I agree with you that some of the persons are there who fall in these kind of traps, but not every one of them.
Gentlemen, I partially agree with you. What if I say that if you want to be an officer, but your parents are pushing you to be an engineer, would you like that?
Gentlemen, I agree with you. Parents' choices are always first, but protecting the nation also comes to our first priority. And moreover, by employing our youth to the military, we are not saying that we will employ them for a longer period of time. We can employ them on a short basis, like 3 years or 4 years, just like our SSC commission, which is happening in our India, but not on a permanent basis, or not it is
Compulsory.
compulsory for everyone. Thank you.
Gentlemen, as we can see, finding a job is already a very tough job in India, and you are saying that after doing 4 years of military they could find job again. It's like a more tough challenge towards the person. It is
And-
tough to find a job for them.
And gentlemen, you are saying about the increase in GDP.
म्यूट अबे म्यूट बाकी लोग बोलेंगे
I agree with you, but if he had done 4 years of service in army, then it will come in his resume that he has done something before this.
But
This
it
will
would-
be a plus point for him.
but it will be tougher for him to find other job, and he is trained for the job like army. How will he can do other jobs like engineering?
Gentlemen,
I totally agree with you. As you are saying that he would not be able to, but when you see in a wider concept, everyone that is going for that job also would have done that same training. Then it is equal for all. It's not like that a particular person is doing the training. And apart from that,
In my opinion, I think before deciding that army training should be compulsory in all over India, we should also know the fact that India is crossing 1.4 billion of population, and giving training to the 1.4 billion population is not easy for the government, and it will cost a high expenditure for a government to give this much population a good training.
I agree with my friend, but I would like to add a point. Many individuals can make misuse of this military training. They can become a part of Naxal groups, and they can join anti-nationalist groups, and which would lead to the increase in terrorism. So I want to say that this military training can also be of disadvantage to the country, as it would increase terrorism in the country.
I agree with you. As the example of current happening Sudan, there is a paramilitary forces, and the military forces are interiorly conflict with each other.
Gentlemen, if we are talking about being the military mandatory to the people or not, let's talk about stats. The US, the most unemployed people in the US are the Navy SEALs, the SEALs that have trained for the 4 years of rigorous training in the army, but they have still not find any jobs.
I would say that is because it is not compulsory for everyone to go to the Navy SEALs or that. Therefore, they are facing problems in getting other jobs than the from the training that they got from Navy. I would like to add my point from my before saying to my before saying that when everyone will be able to when India will be able to ठीक है, जब इंडिया सभी लोगों को ट्रेन कर पाएगा आर्मी में, तो आप ये भी देखिए कि वो सबको पढ़ा पाएगा, भले ही चाहे वो 2 साल के लिए ही हो, वो 2 साल के लिए लोगों को वो फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड कर पाएगा जो शायद उन्हें आज से पहले कहीं नहीं मिली होगी. इंडिया में काफी सारी पॉपुलेशन.
अंशिका, आपका क्या ओपिनियन है इसके टॉपिक के ऊपर?
I am totally agree with you. As in my opinion, the
कनक.
In my opinion, military training can create a sense of patriotism in people and can make people physically and mentally fit.
Okay. Selja.
I strongly believe that it should not be compulsory, as India is a democratic country, and forcing people to join military would be against their will to their choice, freedom of
Chintu.
choice.
I think it is necessary for the citizen of India to train the military armed force, training like military armed force, because but if the powerful country like China attacked toward India, and I am taking it as a worst case scenario. That must
Then why were not speaking in the group discussion, gentlemen? You were having a very good point. Bloody fool. Narola.
I agree with the fact that everyone should be getting military training